Hello, students of class 7. I welcome you all back to our English class. I hope you remember what we were looking at in our last few classes. Yes, we were looking at the lesson 3 at table. Today, before we start our lecture, let us look back on the points that we have seen in our last classes. So first, we are introduced that the narrator of the story is a veteran sailor. The veteran sailor is narrating a strange incident that has taken place in his life many years ago. The strange incident has taken place in English countryside. In the story, we see that the narrator has written back from China. He's staying in an inn called the Royal George. Later, we see that after breakfast, the narrator goes on a walk and later gets lost due to the fog. He doesn't know the way back to his inn. He shouts for help and finally meets a countryman. While the countryman is showing him back the way, he advises about the strange house. But as the narrator is unable to find the correct path, he goes back to the strange house. He chooses to go to that house as he is tired and cold already. As he knocks the door, an old woman opens it and she refuses to know the way. But later, a man in that house invites the narrator. So, as the cold out was too much and the house looked warm, the narrator accepts to go in and he agrees to have dinner along with them in the dark. So in our last slide, we saw that a third person who is mentioned as a son also joins the dinner, and we came to know that the narrator, that is the veteran sailor, hears a strange voice. So today in our class, let's see what was the strange voice that the narrator, the veteran sailor, heard. "A cold night," it said slowly. "Yes," I replied. It was somewhat difficult eating in the dark, and it was obvious from the behavior of my invisible companions that they were not used to dining under such circumstances as I was. We ate in silence until the old woman came into the room with some sweets. So here we see that the strange voice asks the sailor about the cold night. And here the narrator, that is the veteran sailor, finds that just like how he is new to eat in darkness, his companion, that is the old man and his son, seems to also be new to dining under darkness. He says that it was obvious from the behavior of his companions, invisible companions, which means that he wasn't able to see who was eating with him as it was so dark. So let's move on. "Are you a stranger here?" inquired the curious voice again. I replied in affirmative and murmured something about being lucky in stumbling upon such a good dinner. There was something so strange about the whole business I could see a pair of wild eyes. So here the voice again asked whether he was a stranger. The voice asked the sailor, and the sailor says that yes, and he agrees to the statement firmly. And he also murmurs that he was being very lucky that he came in accidentally and is having such a good dinner. But in spite of all these things, he found something strange. In the last line, we see that he could see a pair of wild eyes. So let's see what was the pair of wild eyes. With a growing sense of uneasiness, I pushed my chair back. It caught the rug, and in my efforts to disentangle it, the screen in front of the fire fell over with a crash. In the flickering light of the fire, I saw the face of the creature opposite to me. Man or beast, which was it? In the mere red glow of the fire, the face looked more devilish than before. "I beg your pardon," said I, "but I have accidentally overturned the screen. Allow me to replace it." "No," said the old man gently. "Let it be. We have had enough of dark. I'll give you a light." So what happens here? The sailor is very uneasy. He feels so uncomfortable to be in darkness. So while he tries to push back his chair, the chair is caught in the rug, that is the mat, the carpet. It's similar to the carpet. In the picture, you will be able to see it. They are sitting on a carpet and the chair is caught in the rug. He tries to free the chair from the carpet, but during his effort, the screen which was placed before the fire fell down with a crash. That is, it fell down suddenly. And when the flickering of the light, the sailor was able to see the face of the one who was sitting opposite to him. He didn't know whether it was a man or a beast, but in the red glow of the fire, the face looked more devilish. So the sailor is scared and he says, "I'm sorry," and he asks sorry to the man and says that he would place the screen again. But here the old man gently says it's okay, and he finally says that we have had enough of dark, I'll give you a light. So here seems like the old man is going to show something to our sailor. Let's see what happens next. He struck a match and slowly lit the candles. Then I saw that the man opposite had a drawn, beard face with only one eye. So here we see that the old man goes and again lights the fire. He lights a candle, and then the sailor is able to see the one who is sitting opposite to him. The boy, here it said as the man opposite. That's the boy. So he sees the boy, and he had a drawn, weird face with only one eye. So what's a drawn? Thin and bony. So the boy's face seemed to have been thin and bony and is weird. and it's evident that he had just one eye. Let's read on. My son was injured some years ago in a burning house, said the old man. Since then, we lived a very retired life. When you came to the door, his voice trembled. I thought, said the son, that it would be better for me not to come to the dinner table, but it happens to be my birthday, and my father would not hear of my dining alone. So we hit up this foolish plan of dining in the dark. So what happens here? The son has been injured due to a fire accident that happened years ago. He has been stuck in a burning house, and that's why he has a jaunt, weird face with just one eye. So the man says that since the incident happened, they have lived a very retired life, that is leaving behind everything. They have lived alone, and they seem to have liked the company of the sailor, and so they have invited him inside. But the son seemed to be worrying about showing himself out, so he thinks that he should have his dinner alone. But since it was his birthday, he comes out to eat. So they plan to eat in darkness so that the sailor doesn't have to see the face of the sun and get scared. So here we come to know why they plan to have their dinner in the dark. Let's see what happens next. I'm sorry I startled you. I'm sorry, said I, as I reached across the table and gripped his hands. That I'm such a fool, but it was only in the dark that you startled me. We never see a friend, said the old man apologetically, and the temptation to have company was too much for us. Besides, I don't know what else you could have done. So here, after the old man says about his son and why they have put up the plan, the sailor feels sorry and he apologizes to the son. He holds his hand and says that it was in the dark that he startled him, he shocked him, and made him scared. So then the old man has a conversation with the sailor. He tells that they never see a friend, and in the temptation to have a company, he did the plan. So here we come to know that they like to have friend and they like to have company, but everybody has thought that the house was strange and nobody has given them a company, so they have been living a retired life. And finally he also apologizes to the sailor for the plan. We were soon as merry as a party as I have ever seen. The night passed by rapidly. We could hardly believe our ears when during a lull in the conversation, the clock in the hall struck 12. A last toast before we retire, said my host. The old man rose and gazed proudly at his disfigured son. To the health of the children my boy saved, he said. So here we come to the end of the story. So, in the last few lines, we see that they have been having a real good dinner. They seem to enjoy each other's company, and during a silence in the conversation, the clock has struck 12, and the old man rose up. He looks at his son proudly and gives a last toast before they end the party. Here, toast means that they take up a drink and they talk something good about the person who is head of the celebration. So here, the old man takes his drink and looks at his son proudly and says, "To the health of the children my boy saved." So here we come to know that during the accident, the boy has saved many others' life. And the man is proud about his son, that even though his son is now disfigured, that is, he has a real spoiled appearance, he has gone forward and helped many children. So there we come to the end of the story. So through this, the sailor tells that we might find some houses strange without knowing what is inside it. We should never come to a conclusion. It's better we know their story before we judge them. I hope you all enjoyed the story too. So, you have a small activity and it is posted in the Google Classroom. Kindly fill in the activity sheet. And after listening to the video, as a homework, I want you all to find the answers for the questions given. I'll read out the 5 questions that you have to answer. First one, how did the narrator get lost? Why did he return to that house despite the warning of the countryman? Second, why did they decide to have the dinner in dark? Third, how did the son look like and why? Fourth, why did the family live a retired life? Fifth, why did the people of that place call it a strange house? As soon as you finish your homework, you can post it in the Google Classroom in the assignment tab given. So let's meet in the next class. Until then, take care, students.